Good day, guys. This is Newb. How are you all doing? This will be the fourth and final day of the update, as it is currently live as we are recording this. This is the Jungle Inferno Day 4 update for Team Fortress 2. Maybe the last update, but we will see. For today's update video, I want to introduce to you a very special commentator, the man who actually got me into Team Fortress through his videos oh so long ago. I would like to introduce to you Mr. Wickydoo. How are you doing today, sir?
Yes, I am Wickydoo, and I'm doing pretty well. Thank you for having me on.
It is my honor. I used to actually watch your videos, and I was like, man, he looks like he's having a lot of fun. And that's when I bought the game, and it has been magic ever since. Where can the people find you currently if they want to see more of your gameplay footage of the things that you do?
Well, if you'd like to see my content, you'll find me on youtube.com/Wickydoo, as well as on twitch.tv/Wickydoo.
Simple yet effective. I like it. So what were your thoughts going into the update before we even got to Game 4?
Well, I mean, going day by day, there are some things that are self-explanatory. I mean, to get things out of the way, day one is just to show a nice-looking Source filmmaker short. Nice to have Saxon Hale in it now. And there's also the maps that they introduced and a little bit of tidbits here and there that they've teased us, which is obviously with the Pyro having the thermal thruster, as it's called, next to day 2. Another thing to be expected, which they promise, which is the contracts. It's always a nice time killer. I like doing those sort of things, and being the completionist that I am, I always want to do all of them as much as I can, even the really hard ones. God help me. Wow, I already forgot. What was the rest of day 2, was it? Oh yeah, the cosmetics stuff as well, and the taunts and all that good stuff. And day 3, this is something I wasn't expecting already. I thought that on day 4 we were going to get the reveal of what Power was going to get. But considering what was revealed on day 4, it would make sense why it was pushed to day 3 instead. So yeah, new weapons, interesting primary that he has a ranged option for. We played a little bit of that, which we'll get into later.
Indeed.
There was also that thruster, which is I do have thoughts about that until we get later.
I haven't
gas passer.
been able to get it. I've seen it work, so that's going to be a conversation starter, right? At the very least.
And nice to see that he has like a throwable gas passer, which just creates a visible cloud and coats everybody, and even on enemy pyros too, which is quite an interesting change with that afterburn thing going on right now. Goodness sakes. And of course the meme hand going on.
We just need to change the title. Even Mike said yesterday we just need to change that to the meme hand, because essentially that fish, the scout's fish, which is quite hilarious. I'm looking at the actual hand right now. It's literally smoking. That's hilarious. The picture that they showed. Oh, it's great. I hope it's still smoldering when you're actually have it equipped. Haven't seen anyone use it yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing that as well.
You know what? Pro tip: if you got a name tag, rename it to Master Hand.
Oh yes, absolutely. I'm probably going to do that. And the banana that I will probably never see. But we learned a lot more information about the banana, so that should be actually was actually a game changer a little bit going into this actual day 4 update. So we learned a lot more, and it's maybe a little bit more helpful than we initially thought. So let's get that started. Day 4. I was able to get a little bit of playtime. This is the day after the game initially got updated, so I have maybe 3 or 4 hours locked in. I kind of tapped out after a cup of coffee, and I was still tired at midnight. My friends were like, let's do another one, Newb. I'm like, no, I'm done. I got my beauty sleep, and I don't want to stay up all night. I'm not a young man anymore.
Yeah, I wish I could stay up that late, but considering my job, I have to be an early morning person, so that sucks.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Let's start off with these field notes. The Jungle Inferno update is almost here. I'm not necessarily going to actually say everything that this freaking piece of paper says, but I can probably give you the general of everything that they're going to say. Initial information will be on teamfortress2.com/Jungle Inferno, which I'm reading off of right now. 5 feature community mats: Moss Rock, Lazarus. By the way, the cool thing about Lazarus, when we played it yesterday, after you win Lazarus, the big doors open up, which leads down into the actual Lazarus pit, which I thought was a fun little callback. I was like, oh, that's cool. You can actually see the Lazarus pit. Were you able to see any of that when you played?
Out of the maps that I've played Banana Bay, a little bit of Brazil, and Moss Rock. So I haven't seen what you're talking about with the Lazarus pit.
It's just kind of like one of those things that happen at the end of the game. Like there's that one Egyptian map that after you win the game, the big doors open up. You get into the big treasure room inside. It's a similar type of situation. What did you think of Banana Bay? Because that was a death match on wheels, even though it's a payload.
Yeah. First off, visually, I like it. I like it because it utilizes a lot of blue with the sky and the sea. A lot of nice green. It definitely feels like you're on an island. And I don't think there was ever a map like that before, so it's a nice welcome thing. And considering also how it's designed, there's a lot of water, and the fact that the payload actually goes through the water.
Oh, freaking! And even if you're one of the 500 pyros on that map, you finally get to see some return melee weapons that you thought you'd never use ever. What they call
I almost had I almost had a close call earlier today. I actually shrieked when that happened. When I turned around, it's like, no!
I got killed one too many times with that damn neon weapon. Until I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to stay away. I'm going to get my bow out. I'm shooting pyros now. Oh, man, I can't believe that freaking neon sign actually has a usefulness on the map. Because it literally... What? What are you thinking? To put a damn payload that you push underwater and come out? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Probably impossible in real life, but still, that's so awesome.
Yeah, that's a nice welcome change. Like, I mean, whoever designed that Banana Bay in terms of like just to change things up a bit. Let's just have this payload go under the water. Like, yeah, sure. Now here's one interesting thing is that towards the end of where you put your payload is that you have to keep it constantly pushed right onto the on the track and wait for that train to flew by. That was actually not the first time I've ever seen it. It was on one of those like beta maps. I think that was like trying to get us to test, but I don't think it ever came to fruition. So I guess it got recycled into this.
I know that particular concept has been used before, where you have to literally hold the freaking payload there and pray to God you stay alive long enough for that train to go through. Yeah, I do remember another map. I wish I could tell you which map it was, but I do remember a map that did utilize that process. That was pretty cool.
Did it have Cactus in the name? Like Cactus Canyon or...
Cactus Canyon was one of the unreleased maps that never came to fruition through beta. My friend Magic Cactus was talking about that yesterday. It probably was that. It probably was that map. Oh, man. Good times. Freaking Banana Bay is probably one of the more enjoyable maps of the ones that were released. It was all very welcoming to try something very new. But Banana Bay was just be able to have that frenzy of it's pretty much a death match. It's a payload race where you're trying to kill everyone, but you're trying to move your car at the same time. Something similar to like Hightower. Though that's a great match.
Let's not compare it to that. Well, at least there's no like high skybox for like trollers to jump around.
No, we that is not.
Instead, now we got pyro sharks.
Okay, no, wait. Let's talk about that for a second. Please tell me, what would you say was the presence of characters in the games that you played?
Presence of characters?
Yes.
What?
Would you say there was a favorite class while you're playing this game? Like maybe one class was played more than others.
Oh, do I wish like which class was played more than others?
No, I'm saying that. Did you notice a particular class played more than others?
On that map?
No, in general, right now as we are playing this update, because I noticed a very big change in what's the favorable class to play at the moment. Just want your take on that.
So at this current moment, what the favorable class is that should be more of a presence?
Well, I was trying to be cheeky, but I'm saying that there's nothing but people playing pyros throughout this game right now.
Oh, I thought you were being serious.
No, I'm not being serious in any particular.
I was thinking at first, like, are you just joking about pyro, or is there something else to it?
I'm just being cheeky. No, but this is the thing I love. Right? It's only love for in its bittersweet way, but it's like nothing but pyros right now. And because there's nothing but everyone trying to get their new achievements done for their whatever you want to call it, battle pass, is put in Dota terms. Now you have this situation where certain classes can't not be played very easily right now, and I don't see them at all anymore. That would be the spy class and the soldier class. Because if you play spy, you're going to get burned. There's no way around it because there's nothing but pyros everywhere, shooting fire everywhere. And you're going to get... The few brave ones I've seen try to play spy don't last too long and eventually have to switch. Or if they're playing... And I just didn't see a soldier in sight.
Yeah, me too. Like, I was stuck on this one freaking contract, literally the first one, and the bonus is just having to do 4 reflect kills. I can't do that. Like, I'm waiting for a soldier, or maybe for an engineer if I get that level 3 sentry point in my direction and I just point it at, like, a scout or something. And even then, we don't see scouts, because they're
also quite
HP
flammable.
Is small. Okay, maybe to get back on track about the maps here, to go ahead and finish my closing statement about, well, not just Banana Bay, but also for, let's see, Moss Rock. And I don't know about the other maps, but there's like one little visual thing that's really bugging the hell out of me. And that is, wherever you stand, you might get some sort of weird, like, white, like, wireframe thing that just goes right into my face. Like, I saw that, like, constantly on Moss Rock and Banana Bay, and I'm just like, dude, like, I like these maps, but seriously, get that fixed. I can't play if that's in the way all the time. It like almost screwed me up a couple times.
Was this like a visual error on the map itself? I don't recall that. Was this something that's like a glitch error that was happening visually?
It's a visual glitch. Like, if you were to, like, say, like, running at normal speed and not paying much attention, it almost looks like some sort of like anime speed lines or something going past you, but it's not really. It's weird. I almost thought it looked like visual, like, gusts of wind or something like that, but no, when you look close to it, it just looks like white wireframes or something. I don't know what that is all about. It's just annoying.
Huh. I didn't quite notice that, but that would definitely be a issue that I hope they would address on that particular map. It was just on Moss Rock, right?
Moss Rock and Banana Bay.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't recall an error like that. Hopefully not too many people are having that particular issue. I hope in the end that they do get that fixed, wherever what was happening, Any other points you would like to make on any of those particular maps? They're all quite fun to play. Just the pyros and the fire everywhere.
Well, I just need to do a lot more extensive playtesting, and we'll see what happens. I still have yet to play Enclosure and Lazarus, so...
Absolutely. They're all quite fun maps to jump into, and just gotta learn the maps and try not to get as lost as I got lost quite a bit in a lot of these huge maps going on. Okay, moving on, they had 2 official taunts, the Yeti Punch and the Yeti Smash. So you'd be able to place cardboard cutouts of Yetis and punch them. And you can do that for only $8.99. No, it's probably a little bit less than that, but...
Ching!
Yeah, you know, right? Yeah. I'm trying to... I did my part. I bought the Battle Pass. I did my part in paying for this. So hopefully this will give Valve a little incentive to try to keep things going, you know. Let's see. Mm-hmm. 2 community cosmetic cases with 20 items each. So we're not going to see the rainy day crates anymore. Oh no. Whatever shall we do?
Boo-hoo.
Yeah. Long the days are over where you come into the game and you're like, oh, you have to do, I am waiting for you. Oh, it's another rainy day crate. That's fantastic. Let me throw it into the pile. Let's see.
The 1 cent pile on the Steam marketplace.
I tried that. Literally, to be competitive in trying to sell that crate, you literally have to sell the crate for 3 cents. And you would get a penny back. Because Valve gets 2 cents. Why? It's pointless. I'll probably get more joy just by deleting it more than trying to sell it.
Yeah.
And the more controversial, actually I can't say it's controversial, but I wasn't a big fan of it till we saw how it worked out. 2 new war paint collections made up of community-made war paints and official war paints. And essentially you're being able to put different skins onto your weapons, which Valve has done in the past on games such as CSGO. I don't like how they're changing things in a way. I think that this is the issue with CSGO where you're going to have just the perfect skin for your weapons. I don't know. I just personally wasn't a big fan of this particular change and update, but hell, it's been such a big jarring change for the way you can change the way your character looks. I guess this is just the next step and another cash grab for Valve.
Well, I can't personally relate to that just because I've barely even touched CSGO. I mean, I know about the whole thing of like just having to gamble for skins, and I mean, all there really is just visual aesthetics or whatever. Like, oh, this thing is rare on this knife, and lots of money tossed over this way, and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
This is coming from a guy who has a strange factory new Spark of Life Medigun. So I'm like being a hypocrite when I say that. It's like, oh, you CSGO, you can do that, and I'll be like, ooh, nice shiny thing in my Medigun here. No, but
I got
like.
Oh, go ahead.
So basically, I don't know if I can relate to your like disagreement about this change with the war paint here. It's just that like when I see something like this, I just find it nice to have the option to like, you know, like if you happen to get a war paint, whatever. I mean, just the fact that you can apply it to anything. Well, well, not really anything. Whatever the selected weapons that you can put it on. It could have some like interesting like designs to it. I mean, just today, like the one war paint that I got, which is some sort of like bamboo sort of thing. Just out of curiosity, I went and previewed it like on the Holy Mackerel, and what that turned out to look like was like it looked like a grilled fish in a paper now.
My friends and I were looking through the Holy Mackerel options, and it seemed like they really went kind of crazy with the options that you can paint your fish with. So that's that's a sentence I thought I'd never say. Paint your fish. I think I opened up one crate and I got a paint. I think it was some leopard skin thing, so I'm probably going to throw it on I'll just throw on my Excalibur weapon for my demo man. Just moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and let's see. 4 new pyro items: the Dragon Fury, the Thermal Thruster, with the new kill taunts, the Gas Blast, the Gas Passer, and the Hot Hand. Woo! I got a lot of experience with the Dragon Fury. I mean, oh shit! Excuse my language. Holy shite! That thing did a lot of damage. Like sometimes I would have a character with full health, not even a character with a small amount of health, but I would be dead within 2 seconds because I got hit in the face with that weapon twice, and it is super powerful, especially up front. But what makes it really powerful is that a character such as the Pyro is supposed to be extremely limited with its range, but now you get a weapon that can be fired across a map. Well, not like a sniper rifle, but it has a lot more range now. It's huge. What was your experience with the weapon?
Well, I was fortunate to test it out when like a Pyro died with it, and I can just pick it up and test it myself. No contract required, but yeah, like I don't think I really fully play tested it, but I was able to mess with it enough to like get an understanding about its little reload and combo system a little bit. But what kind of threw me off was just like, is the range consistent? Because like on the first attack, I see it like travel a far distance, but I know there was like that mechanic of like added repressurization plus 50% or whatever that means. And like every subsequent time that I fired, the range got shorter. I don't know if that's just me or I just didn't get a feel enough for that weapon. There was also the idea of like right clicking to get an air blast, and it does minus 50%. And I'm just a little bit confused. I see potential. I'm just a little bit confused.
I unfortunately have not had the chance to actually use any of the new items. I'm probably going to later today sit down and do a recording of me trying to go through the achievements and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to see how these items are supposed to be used and played. So that should be fun. So, but I feel that I'm hearing nerfs coming, has to come really hard, but we're going to need to at least wait at least a week to see how this pans out. And if it continues the way that it does, we'll have to see if they decide to adjust the way that particular weapon works, because right now it does quite a bit of damage. Then again, there's fire everywhere. Who knows what the hell's going on half the time. Next up is a big item. I think that is a kind of a game changer for the Pyro, because you changes a lot about how the Pyro works. Is the thermal thruster, and pretty much a jetpack which allows you the thrust. Oh, I'm glad I was able to actually see it before I actually talked about it. Oh wait, did that day 3? Never mind. A jetpack, you can actually thrust yourself forward in the direction that you're looking at, and just be able to move on. And this really is a game changer for the Pyro, because you're gonna be able to chase the enemy much quicker, and then or be able to escape much quicker and get away. What was your experience with that particular weapon?
Well, I don't know what I can say about in terms of be able to aid you in combat or to escape. I mean, I've only played it for like 5 minutes. Again, I picked it up off the ground to mess with it. And when I was trying to be very swift with it, there was a noticeable delay when trying to select it. You actually have to select it. And, well, first off, it does have like 2 charges to it, which does regenerate over time. So you have like 2 quick uses if you want to do that.
Right.
And yes, like how it functions, that when you like, as soon as you like click it, it juts you up just a little bit upwards in the air, and then it shoots over in whatever direction you want to go to. Now, so first off, yes, about having to aid you in combat is just about like being able to select it really quick. Like, I mean, we've gotten used to like the usual like weapon switch delay, like going to a weapon, but in this case, there's actually like when you're trying to switch away from it, you don't really like see your like next weapon right away. You have to watch the animation like see Pyro's hands away from his little controls first, then you see him pull out the weapon. Like, so I saw a noticeable delay when trying to do that.
There's a kind of a wind up before you can actually get to use the item. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
and when I saw that, it's just like, okay, I can only see this as a way of being able to flank and not so much to like escape or something. I mean, I guess at the very least, if you want to initiate the combat and make sure that nobody sees you, which good luck because that thing's loud as freaking heck. So, and then try to land on them because like it's essentially Pyro's own man treads, the previous man treads that is.
Right. Oh man, I remember one time I had a weapon on the Pyro, the Power Jack, and I had a horde of Pyros running after me. And I had a good lead. I could run faster than them. I'm like, okay, I should be able to get away. And all of a sudden, I see that freaking jetpack fly right past me, and boom, I'm dead. I'm like, how'd you catch me? There should be no way you should be able to catch me, but he's able to use his little jetpack to get to me. I'm like, well, that's not nice. But hey, that's exactly how that weapon was supposed to be used, you know, to be able to flank the enemy and be able to catch up and kill you. So, good on them. And then of course you get the new taunt kill with the gas blast, which is hilarious because I was able to watch a video earlier that my friend sent me that if you have the Pyroland goggles on, it turns to a beautiful fart rainbow. I'm glad they thought of this if you have the Pyroland stuff equipped.
Rainbow farts.
This one I'm really looking forward to grabbing myself, the gas passer. I love the way you can use this particular item. It just turns things into area denial once you throw it into an area, and you have that nice little lovely gas that's in the particular area like a control point. You throw it there, anyone in that gas is now coated with some goo, and if they take damage, they erupt in flames.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, like that's pretty much a first for like any sort of like item in the game. Sure, there was like the throwables for that Girardi, Mad Milk. It's just like, but when it's upon impact, it just does its thing immediately. Whereas to like, yeah, the gas passer just shows a visible cloud like, oh yeah, if you want to walk through this doorway, well then you're gonna pay. So yeah, definite area denial. So if anyone wants to try to get into that point, well, good luck.
And they had to make sure to mention, oh yeah, the pyros aren't immune anymore. If you get hit by this thing, you get hit, you're on fire too. That oil is going to stick to you.
Speaking of that, the afterburn stuff, which reminds me, it's one thing for the gas passer to like have that afterburn apply to the pyro for longer, but what I noticed for the Dragon's Fury is that you actually are able to combo pyros with that as well. It's like they're able to give the afterburn last just long enough for you to go ahead and keep on doing the combo, which okay. So a little bit of afterburn.
Wow. I never even thought about that. That's amazing. Wow.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a powerful combo right there. And then you also have the hot hand, which is I'm going to really, really look forward to slapping some people up. Oh, that's a fun little dilly with that one. Say, don't you come anywhere down here again. And then I get killed by a stray bullet. And let's see, new heavy item, the second banana, which looks so sad. Day 3. You literally take a look at the picture of the heavy with his banana. He looks sad because you're like, this is why. And initially, when you look at the actual item itself, from what it looked like on day 3, I was like, why? What is the purpose of this item? You have the Savage that heals double, but you have the actual banana that heals for half, but it still takes the same amount of time to eat it. So I'm like, why would you have this? Now, of course, it's revealed on day 4, which we'll get to in a second, that you're able to just go ahead and straight up pass that banana to everyone else, so it's a small meta pack. So you turn heavy into a little bit more of a support-ish character because it regenerates more. So it kind of works out in its own way, which I can see how you can make heavy, you know, more support-based, but why are you trying to make your heavy definitely assault class more supporty?
Yeah, I mean, it's been there for a while to like be able to toss your food to your teammates. I mean, because like with the sandwich, because it regenerates a long time to get something like a bag like a medipack for anybody to have. I mean, in the case commonly used for your medic. Right. So in the case of when it comes to being able to help out your medic, which one's quicker? Being able to get out a medipack that's like every 30 seconds, or a small medipack that's every 10 seconds?
Yeah, that's exactly the answer. This is exactly for that reason. The reason you get to have the banana is to be able to help out your allies more with health. Especially if maybe if you don't even have a medic, you can at least be able to have this available for quick heals for your allies.
And quite honestly, I think that the banana would actually be a little bit better than the chocolate bar, actually. Because, well, it all depends on the situation, actually. Because, like, if you're mostly by yourself, then, yeah, you have the chocolate bar. And if you still want to be able to toss a small pack to someone, you can. But in the case of the banana, being able to heal yourself decently in your own spare time, but being able to readily available to toss it to someone you can. Because here's the thing, like the chocolate bar, I think it was also clocked to recharge every 10 seconds. Same thing goes for the banana. So it's either like, hey, you want to be able to have a little bit more health for yourself, or do you want to be able to potentially get a little bit of max health if you're all by your own and still having the, you know, there's a little bit of a choice depending on situation. So, but I'm mostly seeing myself using banana more if I'm always having a medic on me. That's just me, because heavy is my least played class, so.
Right. I can't remember the last time I actually used the chocolate bar, aside from when it initially came out. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, you can get a little bit of a... Because chocolate bar is the one that maxes out your health a little bit more, past your max, right? And
yeah, it goes to like 350.
Yeah. I would probably... Maybe I'm just so simple-minded. I'm thinking, it's just... Seem like you can get much. I just rather just get the full heal through the sandwich more than the chocolate bar. Though that's obviously just me, but having that option to be able to do that is always quite nice. Obviously.
Yeah, and the thing is that you don't really need all that much of a medipack, like with a med pack for like. For your medic, because like once you like toss the health, it's just enough to like cancel out any sort of like burning or bleeding anything, and then by the time that you've regenerated another banana, your medic would have been already fully healed through regeneration alone. So
right. So we have the banana. We should be very happy that Heavy got anything at all, even though they lost that one particular match over a year ago when they had the contest to see who would get what.
Yeah.
I wonder what the name of this update be of Heavy One. Because I don't think it would be called the Jungle Inferno anymore. Probably called the Great Arms Race or some shit.
Yeah.
Man.
We might see that day happen. Who knows?
We will see. It should be interesting. Let's see. Then we go into the free contracts to earn the new Pyroland. Wait, free contracts to earn the new Pyroland Heavy. Oh, so you don't need to necessarily buy the Battle Pass in order to get the Pyroland Heavy items. Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
Cool. But they still have the option of, if you get the Battle Pass, you get 36 campaign contracts.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, yeah, let's go and do it. Add some more time, and then we're gonna Valve's gonna wait till they hit their peak numbers. They're gonna be like, "Hey, look at all the people who are playing Fortress 2," and then we're not even gonna talk about how the player rate's gonna fall off in a week. Probably less than that.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Let's see. Mercenary Park gift shop to select your campaign contract rewards. Equip a little contractor to customize and track your campaign experience. Oh yeah, there were some additional items I never equipped when I got this. I was scared at one point because when I purchased my Battle Pass and activated it, my connection was kind of glitchy. I was scared at one point. I was like, did they even give me credit? Once I used it, I'm like, I hope they didn't just take my money and walked away. That'd be very sad.
I mean, I was trying to activate it myself, and I mean, I thought it didn't come to my mind that it was like gonna I'm not gonna get it or anything like that. It's just like it's a massive update. It's chugging, so I just have to wait.
Yeah, that's the logical way of thinking. I don't always get that option. Let's see. Now the general updates and such. Let's see.
And there's a lot.
There's a lot. We may need to skip over a few of these or skim at the very most because some of this is just really basic stuff. So let's start. Significant weapon and class balance improvements, which they say we'll get into that later. Increase the maximum number of backpack slots, which is very welcoming because sometimes I did feel that your backpack slots were limited. Hell, I still remember that I've actually purchased additional backpack slots. So I'm bumping it up to 500 more is very nice. Your local voice codec now defaults to Steam Voice. And I don't know what any of that means.
I think it's referring to like the Steam Instant Messenger thing where you have like an option if you want to go ahead and call somebody up. It probably uses that. Like, at least that's my guess. All right, I don't know. I can only assume that it's a lot more better quality, hinting because the thing says at a higher bit rate than the default codec. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So we can hear that 13-year-old a lot more squeaker now.
Of course I had to have those. Oh, man, that was lovely coming back into that environment, having those nice little 12, 13-year-olds trying to order me around. Oh, my God, what are you guys doing? I'm like, I so did not miss this. That was great. Oh,
I wouldn't know. I had voice turned off.
Once again, you're the logical thinker of the two of us. Let's see. Fix the engineer being able to store the gunslinger's melee crit for future melee attack.
I vaguely heard about that thing.
Huh. I mean, I could see that being a thing. I never thought that you could do that. Good Lord, if this has been a problem for the past year, that would be kind of annoying. Bug where ammo to be picked up, weapon could not exceed maximum players' ammo allowed. So, how much a buff fixes model.
First thing I kind of noticed is about the bottle, the Scottish Handshake, and the Annihilator, about how their models break on critical hits. Now, I've heard about bottle breaking on that before. Scottish Handshake, I didn't see that break at all. And the Annihilator, it's supposed to break?
Yeah, I didn't know. Well, first of all, who used the Neon Annihilator up until now? Let's be honest here. It was cool. We tried it, and then we move on. But now I didn't know that it broke either. Hell, going back to the bottle, since when did this start breaking again? I remember initially when you used it, it could break if you hit it over the wall a few times. Did it make that only accessible if it was a critical hit? Not having.
Oh well.
Well, they fixed it, so whatever it is now, it's what's supposed to be. Let's see. Fix some of the heavy's edible secondaries, not having the model update when the item's eaten. So when you're eating a banana, it still looks like it's a full banana. Got it. Multiple weapons. Fix some outdated tips. Manpower mode.
Don't care.
Yeah, okay. I gotta ask, what the hell is manpower?
Manpower mode is like supposed to be like some sort of like over the top, like I think it's supposed to be in general like a over exaggerated, I think, like capture the flag game where all of your characters have freaking grapple hooks and they just zoom across the map. So
yeah, we don't care. Move on. Okay, great.
There you go.
You tried to warn me. Update palettes or crates. First person animation. Guess select medics. Update. Steam controller.
Hold on right there. Well, first off, nice that they added the inspect animation to all weapons. Like, I want to be able to look at my freaking like festive weapon or anything like that. Like, I don't know why it had to be exclusive to like those like skinned ones, but now it's like, now I can look at my strange festive minigun, the one that's like worth a lot of keys.
Well, I'm glad that option is available. Sometimes you want to take a look at the finer things in the game, you know? So.
Now, the next point below that, it says, add a disconnect sound when the medic stops healing their target. Boom! There you go. I was not expecting it, but I love it. The reason why is just that, like, there are some players, in pub, that's a rarity, but if you are being healed by a medic and you want to be really protective of your medic, you got to be aware, like, a whole freaking bunch of the time. It's one thing having to look around behind you frequently, but it's also another thing, like, if you notice, like, if your medi-beam's not connected, then your instinct is need to look around behind you and see if everything's all right.
Yeah.
It's nice that they added an audio cue to that so that it'll be a lot more natural, I would say. I thank you for that.
The sound cues to indicate your healing has stopped. Maybe we should check to see why. No, I see that. I can see that would be a really nice addition.
Mm-hmm.
That would be quite nice. Let's see. Add new sounds for family business. Okay, new audio cues. And then the Steam controller improvements. I'm sure you are a big user of the Steam controller. Tell me what you think about the Steam controller and the changes there.
Oh, dude, you should have seen me, because like earlier in the stream, I was getting bored of those dang pyros. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna equip the Darwin Danger Shield and be a dick about it, and then I use the insult to injury. I used the frickin' Steam controller, like as you said, and oh my lord, those pyros! I made them rage quit the frickin' casual server. No, I'm just kidding.
Well said, sir. Well said. I was like, am I actually gonna learn something today? Okay, hey. Community request added. List rounds command. Okay, no. Applied to match rejoin limitation for casual to Mavericks. So let's see. Players who leave Mavericks machine cannot matchmake back into the same game for several minutes. I guess that's fair. Players who are vote kicked from Mavericks machine cannot matchmake. Okay, so pretty much saying if you're being a dick and you leave Man vs. Machine, you can't just jump to another Man vs. Machine game. That's fair. Because if you ruin one game, you don't want to ruin another game.
Yeah, I actually seen that happen since I have played. I'll be honest, I did play like over 100 tours of the frickin', you know, the one that gives you the frickin' kill streak stuff.
Oh wow.
Whatever it was called.
Okay.
And I have noticed a few times that, despite having to try to get that guy out of the game, whoever it was, somehow manages to get back in.
Oh,
like,
geez,
just because, oh, wait, I don't see any other options. This is the only choice. Let's put you back in here. Like, no.
That would be pretty bad. Well,
yeah.
That's nice. Let's see. Added Ready Steady Pan Season 3 Tournament Medal. Okay, then this is for more of the...
Whole bunch of competitive medals.
Yeah.
Doesn't apply to me because I don't do competitive.
I'm shocked they still have a competitive scene right now. That's probably because I'm not involved with TF2 as much anymore, but good for you. Good for you to tell me that they still have a competitive scene. I did my one stint with competitive, and I'm done with that. Got a nice little medal on my chest of my engineer to prove it. Added Tip of the Hats 2017 community medals, and how much other medals? Okay, great. Parties can now be formed from anywhere within the game and persist through matches. This was pretty cool. I mean,
yeah,
this was
cool. Very much needed. Like, no longer are you stuck on a single screen. You'll be able to get your party like hooked up no matter where you are within the main menu while you're staring at your like war paint selection samples and whatnot, or like in the middle of a game or something like that. Thank God. Thank God we can do stuff in between queue time.
Right?
Other than having to alt tab and having to take a look at your Twitter.
Oh, it is such a freaking welcome. I'm glad they're trying to make their game a little bit more organic to be able to, hey, let's just make a party. We don't have to do some... This is just much easier, essentially. Let's see. Yeah, they just upgraded a lot of the party systems, which is great. Matchmaking. Redesign matchmaking screens. I really like the actual opening screen that they put down for TF2 with Saxon Hale and his great hairy chest. That's probably not what I should be focusing on, but the rest of the map, just everything else.
But it's manly.
It's man. I also need to mention. I know I'm going off on the tangent here. My audio cues of Saxon Hale was completely thrown off with this new actual voice actor for Saxon Hale. Because I'm sure you have also played the Saxon Hale mods, and the guy who decided to do Saxon Hale for that particular mod.
Like, to be honest, I've never played that. Wait, no, maybe I did. But it's very, very faint. Well, it's probably like a one-time thing I probably did.
The guy who did the Saxon Hale mod all those years ago literally was like, he made the most upbeat Saxon Hale, him yelling, Saxon Hale! Oh, I'm gonna go for the Manco, and then this particular on the openings video that you get for this particular update, he's like, shh, they got the theater going in. It's like, wow, this is not the Saxon Hale I was thinking of in my head. So it was much different in my eyes. So let's see, casual. Oh, let's see. Now they're talking about matchmaking, about how they go to casuals and stuff. Levels. Oh, they updated the level cap that you had in game. Good for them. Good for them for changing the level cap.
Yeah, they have it so they have it like once you get to 150, you get a tier or prestige or something like that.
Yeah, all the cool kids are doing the prestige now.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. Like, I understand, like, if you want to be able to, like, get the player to, like, hooked on to, like, casual and feel like you're, like, earning something, but what you're earning is just, like, numbers. But, like, when I feel like I want to play, like, casual and, like, I see the levels, I feel like I just want to be able to, like, get something a little bit concrete out of that. It can be just something simple as like you get like an additional weapon drop or something very simple as that. Like if you can get some like a little bit of a item drop out of doing something like that, it'll be nice if they did that. I'm not saying something you have like some sort of like extreme rare chance to like get this. I'm just saying like give us a little bit of incentive. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, I'm sure a lot of people thought that the scoreboard for the original Street Fighter was so needed, so you can get the high score on Street Fighter. You remember the scores on Street Fighter 2, right? No, every time you win, you have your little score sheet. This is very similar. Everyone needs to know what your grand total score is, because it's so valid, right?
I don't know. I don't play the fighting game scenes.
No,
my only extent of me playing fighting games is like Mugen. You know, like a bunch of customizable Mugen. Like yeah, a bunch of custom characters fighting each other. Hey, Goku versus Homer Simpson, let's go.
Well, I'm sorry. I only brought it up because it was completely pointless to add scoreboards for fighting games, but back in those older games in the 90s, everything had scores, so you can put your top scorers at the end of the day, but it had absolutely no relevance to the game itself. But I'm trying to make relevance of the two now. Yeah. Contracts. Your contract drawers have been replaced with a contract tracker, a state-of-the-art PDA. Wait, isn't that technically kind of... I would think this would be really out of lore, because isn't this whole thing supposed to be taking place in like the 1960s, 1970s?
Well, I mean, when you think about it, you might as well just treat it like if it's in an alternate timeline, you know? I like to treat it like that, maybe. Because like if you think about like games, oh, say for example Wolfenstein, like it's around the World War II time, and yet you're able to see like like Nazi mechanicized freaking like dogs and
Hitler's.
other advanced machinery during that time period, and like nobody bats an eye about that.
Right. True enough. Let's see. And they go into more details about the contracts and how contracts can be done and things like that. Play the contracts, you'll figure out how they work. Moving on. Unless you have anything else to add in on contracts. We need to speed this up a little bit. Gameplay changes. Oh, they switched up how some of these weapons work. Okay. Panic attack. Least used weapons. Main culprit is acute delayed fire aspect. Wait, panic attack. Which weapon was a panic attack again?
The one where like you switch to it really quick and then you rapidly like reload how it originally was, and then it goes pretty much.
Oh, the soldier's grenade launcher, the rocket launcher, right?
What?
Which
no,
weapon?
panic attack is the shotgun.
Oh, I want to look this up real quick. Panic attack.
I guess I was kind of like describing the airstrike.
That's what I was looking like. Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So pretty much what they went for this time, is that like they want to be able to make that weapon like immediately usable. I mean, like much like any other shotgun. The only difference is that it has a fast switch speed. Apparently has more pellets, less damage. Now here's a weird thing: is that it has a fixed shot pattern. So like when you fire, you know that it's not random, regardless of server settings. So like, so like this is like the only time where a weapon doesn't have random, what is it, bullet spread or something?
Right.
And I did try that out today, and it's like, oh, yeah, I'm not using this. Because sometimes maybe you do need that sort of like random like
Aspect
spread sometimes when you're like at medium range. Because when I saw that bullet spread that's fixed on a thing like that, it's like, yeah, you need to be at point blank with this. I'm not doing this.
Gotcha. At least with the
not
spread.
that I paid much attention to the panic attack anyway.
Right. Well, they did say it's their least used weapon, so for good reason. All right. Reserve shooter. That is pyro weapon. Wow, it's been way too long since I played this game.
Yeah, it was initially for the soldier, and now it was added to the pyro, and because of that, how it was easy to abuse the air blast and then follow it up with that to do a mini crit. A lot of people say that's a freaking overpowered thing, and you're freaking scum for using it. But no.
Now I know what weapon this was. I literally have a reserve shooter renamed to the Dick Cheney. Oh. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, they nerfed it. Oh,
sorry, thought you were a bird.
I have some clever. I have some clever caption in there.
Oh man.
So like, now apologize, something along those lines. Oh, they freaking nerfed it. Okay, we've decide to remove the air blast as a source for many criticals. I know I was trying to do my combo. I was like, okay, I'm not getting critical hits. I must be missing, or it's been out too long. Oh, I'm sad by this. Alright, I'm uninstalling. This is horrible. But until then, Spy, Ambassador.
Oh boy.
How many times have they changed the Ambassador? I know they changed it once
today,
before.
Only once.
Oh man, now it has fall off damage. Now I see a lot of freaking... Why? The Ambassador really just rewarded some really good spy play. So now that's...
like nobody, as far as I'm aware, nobody complained about like the Ambassador just being used by the spy. Is just like, I mean, when you think about it, the only main difference is that, like, with Ambassador to the sniper rifle, is that one doesn't have a scope, and two does a little less damage. So, and you don't have the freaking like charge mechanic. So it's like, no, it's perfectly fine if the spy has some sort of long range option to take care of situations where it could be too heated. Like, obviously, if you see a very well guarded sentry nest and you happen to be on this ledge far away, boom, round that NG, and hopefully you get the next shot in, and there you go.
Yeah, and that's.
But now we can't do that.
Can't do that no more.
And I actually had a chance to test this. So I was like, I mean, God forbid I was playing on 2 for it because I had to pad out the time. Dude, so I might as well screw around and test out the weapons.
You should be ashamed of yourself. Please continue.
I know. Noobs have to start somewhere. Anyways, so I was on the enemy battlement. So this will give you an idea of how long the range was. So I was on one end of their battlement, and then I saw their sniper on the other end. So to give you an idea of the range, and when I shot it, it was 54 damage.
Wow.
Yeah. That was kind of like a little. It's kind of like, I guess you say medium to long range, just a little bit around there. It was like 54. So I'm like, well, Diamondback, you're my new best friend. Now, granted, much like the Heavy, I don't play Spy all that often, so. But if I want a revolver, there's that.
The Ambassador just got, oh wow, that's, it's like, shooting a pistol all that far away, it's going to lose its momentum going such a far away, so it's going to do less damage. I guess that's the fall-off mechanics we're thinking of. Good for them. Now that we see this change, it kind of makes you wonder, because a lot of the weapons that we see here, some of the changes are still left intact, because they did do a TF2 blog about these changes to get our feedback from it, Ambassador being the big hot topic about it. Originally, in that June blog post, I think it was in June, is that their change was having it so that that the bullet spread is inconsistent enough to where, like, when you try to shoot from long range, it won't hit, but when you're like at medium to close, it'll always headshot all the time. So I don't know which one's worse, fall off or weird bullet spread. That is a issue that I really hope they adjust in the best manner, because this was a huge change to a spy's arsenal. And I learned something new about Deadbringer even before this particular change. I was still under the, this shows how long I've been away from the game. Deadbringer, when I used it last, it was able to block that damage. Now I pop out my Deadbringer and then I walk through a landmine of a demo man's sticky bombs. I die. I'm like, why the hell did I just die? I had Deadbringer. Oh yeah, that doesn't block damage anymore. What the hell? Though I really have to think there was probably a good reason for that, because Deadbringer spies were becoming very, very annoying at one point. But looks like they decided to change the Deadbringer again. So now, apparently it wasn't nerfed enough. So now ammo kids can't freaking change Deadbringers. So that's something. Yeah, there's a lot of like very spy-centric YouTube channels, such as Mr. Paladin, who discussed about this sort of thing back in June, and he explained a lot in detail, like how very easy it is to abuse that Deadbringer, just because, like, if you were to go around to a sentry nest and you happen to like sap it enough and blow it up, enemies come right in trying to do cleanup work of you, only for you to, like, first off, you use up your Deadbringer immediately, then put it down, then you walk over the little sentry pieces, then you get your Deadbringer back up, they shoot you again, and then you just dart out, making you think like, oh, that spy's probably dead for sure. Oh. No, this is what I mean by very easy to abuse. Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that.
So a lot of instances where the spy should have died, but didn't. Now, I mean, I never bothered messing with the dead ringer anyways, because I always just feel like every time that I just put the I come out of cloak, it's just the loud decloak sound. I just feel that someone heard that.
Oh yeah, that was a huge issue. That was supposed to balance everything out, but apparently you're still able to. A lot of spies were able to get by without it. And then they buffed my favorite knife, which is also apparently the least used spy knife. Let's see. They decided to remove the cannot disguise penalty. Non-kill disguise require and consume a full cloak meter. Wait, non-kill disguise require full. Oh, I see. So if you decide to disguise, it takes away your cloak for whatever your cloaking mechanism is. Gotcha.
Yeah.
But you can still do your chain stabs and immediately cloak again. So can you still use the ammo to increase your? Wait, that doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Can you still get your cloaking back through like grabbing ammo packs? Because that's what that was for. Wait, no, you can't. I'm confusing myself now. Can you?
No, I don't see it anywhere that you can't like get your cloak back after you put on disguise.
Yeah.
Because I also did test this today. And yes, like when you apply a disguise on yourself, like then yes, it will use up a full cloak meter, and yeah, you'll eventually get that cloak meter back up. So I would assume just pick up whatever kits are lying around, and you should be fine. Also, one interesting note is that when you're in spawn, without even touching the health cabinet, pretty much applying the disguise is free. So like.
Oh,
yeah, like as soon as you're in spawn, apply that disguise, and then you can just walk right out free of charge.
Yeah, that's fair. That's extremely fair. All right.
Now the thing about the next one is that the drain rate increased by 33%. I don't know how you feel about that. Because it'll make it harder for you to try to walk a lot of distance with that cloak drain rate applied right there.
That drain rate is probably the only reason why you can still be able to pick up ammo and still have the ability to recharge your cloak. So it's probably just a counterbalance.
Yeah.
I don't know how this is going to make. This may still stay as the least most used knife because it's really confusing to use it now. I mean, I understand what the concept is, but now there's all these checks and balances you have to consider before using the knife. So we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, in general, Spy, he got it rough.
Yeah, and with the Pyro update, Spy's really got it rough right now. I think I saw a picture this morning on Reddit talking about the update showing the sad heavy with 5 pyros right behind him for the introduction little picture for Team Fortress. It was quite hilarious because it's true. Let's see. Moving on to the Scouts, Sandman. The feedback for this weapon has been fairly consistent. Players really hate losing the ability to fight back. The ball has to travel really far in order to disarm players. Being hit by a long-range ball ends up feeling random rather than skill. So long-range balls impacts no longer remove the victim's ability to fire back. Oh, I see. So if you hit them, they're saying that it's kind of unfair if you get hit by a baseball that you can't fight back. Because, getting shot by a gun and being able to fight back is so much more fair. Let's see. Max range. Balls now do 50% increased damage. Oh, they increased the damage these balls do. Thank goodness. And the flight time required for max trim will be reduced by 20%. And ball regeneration time is reduced to 10 seconds. That's fair. That's fair. The Bonkatama Punch. They just changed that up. Any of these, do you play Scout?
Not a whole lot.
Not the biggest fan of the Scout. They made a whole bunch of changes to the Scout. Let's see. They changed the bonk atomic punch. They changed the pretty light pocket pistol, and they changed the criticola. They changed the atomizer. Yeah, I'm going down these now. They changed the flying guillotine. And any thoughts on any of these changes?
All right, so taking a look at the pocket pistol, I could see like me using this. In fact, I was testing this out just a little bit. I think it's fair. I think it's fair to be able to have like some sort of like little get health quick mechanic as they detailed in it. Nothing much about it. I mean, you got like 9 shots, which is pretty fair. Firing speed is good enough.
Yeah.
Seems to be all right.
Yeah. Cool. Excellent. And
now here's the atomizer. Nice that it got rid of the self-inflicted damage when you're triple jumping. Now the triple jump can only be done when you have the bat out, which is fine. But you're kind of missing out some of the good synergy that you can have with it if it wasn't active. Because like previously, if you had the atomizer and you also had the winger, you have a lot of mobility options. Now you can't do that. Yeah. So I don't know which one gives you the best jump height. I'm guessing just atomizer. But I'm not sure about like with just the winger having just like 2 slightly larger jumps. I don't know which one gives you the more better height. I guess I would just assume just the atomizer. Also, the gimmick that they added with having to do like mini crit on airborne targets when you just do a frickin' melee attack or something like that is just like, okay, I guess they tried to make it something spicy out of it, but yeah. And of course, the last one being the guillotine. That was needlessly nerfed.
I don't remember a lot of people having to use the flying guillotine. But
yeah, like not a lot of people use the guillotine anyway, and when they did, they probably just want to do it just for the heck for fun, because like the whole idea of having to pair it up with the Sandman, having it to stun them, following up with the guillotine. I mean, I tried doing it.
That's a huge.
Sorry?
I'm sorry. It's a huge requirement to be able to stun players. Like, how many people have the ability to stun? I would say that the reward to be able to stun and hit both. If you're able to hit the enemy, I think it was well rewarded. If you're able to stun and follow up with that freaking guillotine throw. But the nerf it, I do agree, was kind of excessive. I feel.
Yeah. And saying what it says, like burst damage generated, such as mini crits at long range. I mean, I rarely see that happen, really. Anyways, so you might as well just go ahead and. Well, okay. I guess I can kind of agree about the whole idea of randomness, but wasn't that just part of the weapon anyway? Just to like, oh, see if you can hit this anyway. Miss? Oh, well, it'll come back in a few seconds anyway.
That's pretty much how it worked, yeah.
It's meant to be just a fun gimmicky weapon and all that stuff. Like, did you have to get rid of some of the fun aspect out of it? I mean, sure, it might not be like incredibly practical to do, but if you want to be bored, there's always this. But now it's just like, no, you can't do that.
It will be. See, I won't even say it's even going to be missed because not everyone used to play guillotine. Like, whatever. It was. Now it's just no one's really going to use it now. Absolutely. So,
oh boy.
Yeah. Hey, they had to make the excessive changes. They're really trying to they put their foot in there. They're going to have to figure out what the best changes that they are doing right now. We'll see. We'll see how this works out. We will definitely see. Okay, soldier. Couple changes for a couple of the items: the base jumper, the man treads, the cow mangler, and the righteous bison. Let's see. Base jumper players often complain the base jumper is frustrating to fight against because the target is too hard to hit. Combination retract, so they remove the amount of air control while deployed and remove the ability to redeploy parachute once retracted. So nerf to the base jumper essentially. Redeploy parachute. Yep. Yeah, it's just a straight nerf to the base jumper.
Also, I find it funny that in that statement saying the target is simply too hard to hit. What? It's like if you take a sitting duck and just have a parachute attached to it.
Look,
I mean, look, I know it beats the point of a sitting duck, but it's just that, like, I mean, if you're slowly drifting through the air in general, anyways, I mean,
look, they need to change it for a sitting duck to a fish in the barrel. Okay, look, all I'm saying is it seemed like there was a little bit better player base back when we were playing. Because I haven't been played the game in years, and if I can come back and still hit MVP every time I play a game, I'm just saying, I feel like the game has gotten maybe a little bit easier. So maybe when people saying it's a little bit harder to hit people that are just hanging out in the air, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I guess it's probably just us being well too seasoned.
How dare us? Mantras. Yeah. The second least used type in the... Why? Oh no. The mantras aren't being used. Let's buff them. Just leave them alone. The arrows stop in the minigame difficult. And the gunboats are superior to most scenarios. Let's see. 75% push force now reduction includes air blasting and added 200% air control when blast jumping. Good for you.
I wouldn't know what to say about that 200% air control because, like, I can't really fathom like how it feels because, like, I tried doing that today and then messing around with like, here's the major thing. Like, if this weapon, but if this pair of boots encourages you to do blast jumping for the sake of getting like air control, you have to forget like you're still gonna get like the usual like blast damage applied to yourself anyway, so you should be like careful when doing that anyways. Right. I mean, that's what the freaking gunboats is there for anyway, so you don't take that much damage. Now, so that air control, like, did really soldiers have a lot of trouble with air control in general anyways? Because I always see them being able to like,
well, you know,
being able to like
base these things called what I would be considered skill. You learn how to do it. And then you're able to execute these the way you're able to play a freaking soldier. I still remember the freaking little maps that you could use to freaking fly around the map as long as you're a decent soldier. Now, I guess they're just
lots and lots of jump maps were designed to like being able to train you to like how the air control feels. Now that this thing exists, it's like, do we need to relearn it? I mean, what we've learned from like the air control, like rocket jumping mechanics, is good enough. Now, granted, I'm no expert rocket jumper. I just know the basics. I just know that I've seen players being able to air control just enough so they'll still be efficient to like not only get to high ledges but be able to execute like those freaking like shovel kills.
Oh, good health.
And even then, that's just for glory points, but that's just me.
Let's see, Cal.
I was like, yeah, you can go ahead and show off now. Like, do something that's like not. Sorry, I kind of just don't like those kind of players that just be troller all the time.
That's fair. Cal Mangler 5000 removed cannot be crit boost. Granted, earned crits key can be converted to mini crits. So pretty much you can crit with that weapon that is never used.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't mention this is probably one of the soldiers' least used weapons. So we're gonna have to give it a little bit of buff to keep things on the up and up. They said that.
Yeah, okay. They made it use gave the crits again, but it's just mini crits instead. It's like, okay, whoop-de-doo.
Oh, thank goodness we have that now. It was a dark day for engineers when that weapon was released. Why is my turret not shooting now? Let's see, the Righteous Bison. This weapon has been reverted to its previous... Oh my god, now they're going back with previous nerfs. Or unnerfing, or changing it back to what they had before. Deals 20 damage per tick. Oh, they initially buffed it, and now they're re-nerfing it? No limits. Projectiles no longer limit. Projectile velocity is increased to 1200. Oh, I see. That's funny. That's hilarious. So yeah, they just made the original Righteous Bison before they made the changes.
Yep, and that's not the first weapon on the list. They reverted back to its design.
Really? That's... Okay. Fun. Okay, going into the sniper, they have two changes. The Darwin's Danger Shield, isn't that the one that increases the health of the sniper? Pretty sure it is.
Yes.
Yeah, alright. Snipers using this item have the advantage over a sniper who weren't. As a result, players felt like they were required to equip this item in order to be competitive. Remove the increased survival. New design, counter range, burn attacks, flares, and strengthen the... What? Okay. Okay, you have a little bit. We changed for you to having a little bit more survivability to you are a little bit more resilient against pyros because that was an issue. Okay.
To be fair, when I play pyro, I am quite of a dick with the scorch shot on the sniper, so.
All right.
So I can see where they're coming from, and also the whole idea of like, again. I can see why they stopped the friggin' shield, just because, like, try to do a quick scope headshot, guess what, they're not dead. And it's like, oh my god.
Alright, that's fair. That's fair. I get that should be insta-kill. I agree. Let's see. New design to... Oh yeah, we talked about that. Razorback. Goal. Reduce the effectiveness of pocketed snipers and stalemate standoffs. This primarily happens in organized competitive play. Changes negative 100% overheal penalty, so you can't overheal them as a medic, and adds shields regenerates after 30 seconds. I'm not looking.
Okay.
Okay, please.
Okay. I'm sorry, but pocketed snipers that's done in organized and competitive play. Excuse me? Again, okay. This is me who doesn't go into competitive. Again, this is me that doesn't play competitive, but that shit happens. So you decide to add a random stat where they just cannot be overhealed anyway. Shield regenerates after 30 seconds. Yeah, okay, that's fine if anybody equips it anyway.
That's okay.
That's just a stupid change.
It's just random. A lot of this stuff is random to me. I'm sure there's a reason, but and then I found out later that only 12 people are working on Team Fortress 2 at this point. Maybe they... I don't know. Okay.
Let's just forget that and go into the next session that I'd like to talk about.
Oh, all right. Let's get into it. Medics. Ooh, all right. Let's start with the Vitasaw. Uber on death is too valuable of an effect to be passive. Goal, change the weapon in a way that requires skill and rescue in order to gain the effective changes. So the added organs collecting concept. You know, hit someone with the saw, pops out a vital organ, which then take and hold each hit with the Vitasaw harvested a victim's organs. What? And this is the first time I'm reading this, obviously. On death.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. On death, preserve 15% Uber charge per organ harvested. Wow. That's kind of cool. Wow. So every time you cuts into someone, pop goes another organ. Okay.
All right. So this is basically my territory since I main medic a whole lot. So how would I see Vitasaw being used here? Well, for one thing, is that like it says that it requires skill and risk. Yeah, they should probably put the word risk in bold letters right here because you really should not be like engaging in a lot of situations just at all. If anything, it only should be like done like for defensive purposes, or if you know for sure that like if the enemy's weakened, you can just pop them with a hit melee. Sure, that's fine. But like normally, I would just say, well, I mean, I understand the whole idea that the Uber charge should be valued and should not be like wasted. But when you play a lot of medic a whole lot to the point where like you have a good like team that'll keep you alive most of the time, you really won't need it anyways. So
well, I always
it's
thought
just
the Vitasaur was a very new player-friendly weapon, so that you're not penalized so much for dying as much. You know, that if you die with the Vitasaur, you still retain some of that Uber, so you would be more prepared in the future. That's how I always saw the weapon.
yes, I agree with that way of handling the weapon. Sure. Now, if I was to personally use it, the only kind of scenario that I would describe, other than like if I was to know the enemy was weak and I pop a quick hit on them, the only other scenario I would recall ever using it is that if I was alone and like I'm kind of like backed up in the corner and I might as well go ahead and do like one last ditch effort. I'm probably going to die. I'm going to die anyways. So I might as well get one quick hit in order to preserve some of my Uber charge. That's the only scenario I can think of.
There you go. That's a very good scenario, which you would definitely want to do it instead of trying to you in the scenario where you know you're probably going to die. Let's try to be ready in the long run for what's coming next. So yeah, that's definitely a very good. Wow, yeah, Vitasaur, everyone, that should work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Crusader's crossbow. Bolt healing is very high, and significantly out heals the metagun when a target is in combat. This might be okay given the trade-offs, risk versus reward, no overheal. However, it is the fastest way to build overcharge under the right conditions. Changes. Overcharge gain rate reduced in the same way that metagun's healing. Therefore, overcharge build rate is based on the last time the target was in combat, reduced by a third of 1 to 10 seconds outside of combat. Do you understand what this means? I didn't even know that Crusader crossbow actually built your Uber charge.
Oh yeah, the crossbow and the amputator actually. If you're able to like provide healing through both those weapons, you do get Uber charge off of that.
Wow, I did not know this. Okay, I learned. So they reduced the amount of, because of the way they did it, they reduced the amount of Uber that you got through Crusader's crossbow. Cool. I mean, it's a nerf, but okay.
Yeah, when I just play crossbow, I don't really think of like, oh, I want to build up the Uber charge. No, I just see it as a great long range option to provide healing. And so that's because I became so trained with it. I just feel like it's a must-have primary for medics nowadays, really. So really, the change that they did with the Uber charge gain after all this is it's like I really don't mind it. Really, I mean that shouldn't be the primary way to get your Uber charge, anyways. So I'm okay with this. Now, again, this is one of those changes that that remained the same since the June blog post. So since they listed this, I was kind of like thinking like, okay, they better not change it. If they change the healing value on this, I'm going to be pissed. It's like, don't make me cry.
Well, definitely. Well, they didn't mess with the healing, but now I'm sorry, your Uber charge is going to take a little longer, buddy. I'm sorry. Okay, moving on to the heavy, the very, very sad heavy.
So sad.
So sad. You see his sad face. All miniguns. They changed all miniguns. The 1 second damage and accuracy penalty now applies for the first second of spun up time, whether or not the heavy is firing. Previously, the 1 second damage penalty would only be removed after 1 second of firing. See, I'm learning new things. I did not know that was a thing, but hey, there it is. Accuracy and damage penalties are now reset when the heavy spins down, rather than when the heavy stops firing. This means when you stay spun up beyond 1 second, fires and burst damage and accuracy will still remain at 100%. Oh! Okay, so now we're going to semi-automatic territory instead of having to stop. Okay.
Yeah, it's nice for them to like change that up a bit. Like when they first introduced it, like it said, like it can only be like applied after 1 second of firing. It's just like, but now that they reverted back to like, like upon like just spinning up, yeah, right. It was nice.
Good. Okay, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Are you gonna make it?
I'm gonna try to power through this. Gloves are running urgently. Speed lack of has balance in heavy's high health over the output while still being able to. It's okay. Changes. Added max health is drained while items active. Wow. Okay. Health will regenerate only the amount of time drained while active minus damage taken during the time. Okay, so essentially you remove mark protect, remove 25%. So essentially when you're using gloves are running urgently, your health's being drained. So it's kind of a, okay, you want to run away, it's more of an item now that you run into battle rather than running away from battle. But then again, if you're heavy, you're probably not going to be trying to run away from battle, because if you're trying to run away from battle, you're going to die because he's the slowest person on the field usually.
Yeah, the GRU as well as the eviction notice next down, it pretty much has the same treatment. It's only the health loss on the eviction notice is like half the rate of like what the GRU has. I did test this out today. And also, one little thing that they didn't like list here in the changes here, if you were to immediately switch over to the GRU, it actually initially removes 20 max health from it, and then it starts going down. So like, oh, if you want to go ahead and quickly abuse it by switching it back and forth, you can't.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, that's one little change they didn't list right here.
So as you
yeah, I've went ahead and play tested with it a little bit today, and I'm just like, I don't like seeing my health go down. So it's like, well, crap. So it's like, if I really want to manage the health, like I have to like decide like when I have to put it away or something like that, rather than just like mindlessly like go to the front line and just put it away, wait for that mark to death to go away, and then okay, on to the front. So just now they're just adding in like all the health management stuff now is just like
yeah, it's kind of weird how that works, but if it's all for the sake of balance, you know.
I mean, if I really need that like little speed boost, I guess at the very least I'll have that eviction notice. So
speaking of the eviction notice, added max health is drained while is active. Health will regenerate after. So same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, as you mentioned, a fist of steel. Downside increased melee damage doesn't ever come into play when it counts. Added changes. Added 40% overhaul reduction is active. Added 40% healing rate penalty while active. So pretty much if you have fist of steel. Equipped, is it equipped or is it overall with heavy? Has to be while it's equipped. Has to be overall while it's only when it's equipped.
Yeah, while equipped.
Yeah, because it's like you're just heavy. It's just naturally just worse to be healed if you ever just have that in your inventory, and that would be god awful.
Wait, did we say equipped? I meant like it's the kind of thing that's meant to be active. Sorry.
Well, yeah, active. That's why I knew what you were saying. Yes. Yeah. Okay, the second banana. Secondary slot item. When consumed by the heavy, restores 200 health. Acts like a small health kit when dropped by the heavy and picked up by another player. Item regenerates after 10 seconds. We talked about this. Essentially, it's a small item pack that you can be able to give to your pocket medic or anyone else that is in desperate need of a heal, and it regenerates quite quickly. But as an active item just using the item, there are other items that would be better to be able to use it, which would be the sandwich, or I would say the sandwich. Or if you want to increase your health a little bit more, you have the chocolate bar. Engineer, my favorite class. They had one change to one weapon. Rescue Ranger, weapon I don't think I've ever gotten. The ability to repair buildings in safety from range without using metal is powerful. Combined with the ability to instantly teleport buildings from far away, which is believed to be useful enough for many circumstances, with a package that is very strong. Range repairs now consume metal at a 4-to-1 health to metal ratio. Repairing 60 damage costs 15 metal. Double the amount of metal appeared per wrench hit when upgrading buildings during the setup period. Okay, so okay, so double the amount.
So you never got your hands on this weapon?
No, I never. I know. I always knew how it worked, but I never actually used it before. I should.
Well, now that the changes are here, would you still want to get it?
Yes, because I think the changes, the slight nerf doesn't really. I don't think really changed the. I don't think it hurts. It's a small nerf, but I don't think that would really off-put the overall effectiveness of the weapon if you're using it to be able to move things around and stuff like that, or be able to heal your to be able to repair your buildings. I don't know. I still think this would be something that you could use. Yeah, you'd be able so long as you're shooting from a safe distance. Yeah, you're able to. So long as you're able to keep safe yourself and you still have a good amount of health, yeah, go for it. I would say Rescue Ranger is still something you would use. Now, me personally, I'm always going to be the guy who likes the good old trusty Dick Cheney, shotgun. Because that is a nice, simple weapon. 6 freaking shots. That's simple. But you get the versatility of the Rescue Ranger. I'm sorry. Every time I think of Rescue Ranger, I think of the freaking cartoon. But that's just me and my nostalgia kicking in.
Hey, you're not alone.
But for the people who enjoy using this particular weapon, I don't think this is going to be a deterrent to move them away from the weapon. But it's just something to keep things in mind if you start healing your equipment at the cost of your health. Yeah.
If anything about this change, it's going to make you having to in a very fast-paced game, and with an item like this, like it'll make things like how to really micromanage like everything in terms of keeping your buildings all maintained. Like you got to keep an eye on that metal count, bro. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. And now we're about to go into the other weapon that you were mentioning that was changed back to what it was originally. For the demo man, I'm not going to pronounce this right. Cledhimor. I tried. Remove the 25% health on kill. Added 0.5 seconds of increased charge in charge duration.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people who really favor Demo Knight that the little bit of extra charge duration actually does help out a lot. Being able to cover that little bit more amount of distance within that amount of time. So have that like paired up with like I think it was just the tide turn, having all that control, it'll pretty much just help out pretty much.
Yeah, well, quite a bit. Additional half a second. I do love playing me some Demo Knight. Additional half second is a pretty long time, pretty long additional time to be able to be charging, especially if you're trying to escape or trying to get to the enemy, and sometimes you can be just short. This is definitely going to close that distance quite a bit, because you're traveling quite a bit of distance in half a second still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And last but not least, the last class we are going to be talking about is the Pyro, the most favorable class at the moment. So we talked about the Dragon Fury. It's a primary new flamethrower that can be used at range. Uses a shared pressure tank from primary fire and all fire. Primary fire launches a fast-moving range-limited projectile at 25 damage. It briefly ignites the enemies. Deals 300% damage to a burning player. That's why I'm getting killed a lot. That makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
I just remember just dying instantly. I'm like, why? Okay. 50% repressurized rate on hit, so pretty much you should be able to reload quicker so long as you keep the hits. Alt fire is an air blast, and 50% repressurized rate on alt fire. Okay, so you can, if you ever use your air blast, it would slow down the rate that you would reload. Got it. But if you're able to hit the enemy, you're able to recharge faster, and if they're already on fire, it does 3 times the damage. That's ridiculous.
Okay. Now that you mentioned repressurization, I think that was the reload it was talking about.
Yes.
I guess it was just me thinking like range was inconsistent. No, I guess not. I guess it wasn't in this case. So like if you do want to do an air blast, well then you're not going to get that faster reload on there.
Essentially, yes. That's what it looks like. Let's see.
That was just strange wording though. Like it could just. I don't really know how else they would reword it because that confused me initially. Now I understand.
They worded a lot of the things on day 3 quite weird, and they are going into a lot more detail than giving us right now. After they worded it a little bit better. So now we understand a little bit better now, I think. Let's see. The thermal thruster, secondary weapon. We talked a little bit about this already. You can shoot out at people after a small. So how's it working? In you go up in the air, you hover a little bit, and then you blast off into the direction you want to go.
Yeah, that's how it goes. It just goes like then pretty much.
Okay, pretty good. How's that do with like fall damage in general? Like, is it fall damage? Do you think fall damage is the actual issue with this particular when you use this item? Like, do you think this is something you have to consider when using this item? Like, if you fall and take a significant amount of damage?
No, I haven't played this thing a lot to notice that yet. Or, I mean, I'll definitely notice that for sure. Like when I get to a contract, because like, guess what? From what I saw from a lot of players when they were messing around with it, I was questioning like, wait, what are they flying around for? Not trying to attack me? They were trying to land on me. It was part of a bonus contract, and I'm like, frick, I have to do it too at some point.
Oh, good times. And then the fun part is they decided to even add special parts about this weapon for Man vs. Machine. Able to relaunch while airborne, so you can. It's a double jump within itself. Stun enemies when you land on them. Oh, land. Ooh. Oh, no. Oh, I see. So you can land near the bots and they'll be stunned. You land directly on top, it's even longer. And then faster recharge rate. All right.
Well, no, I think this is probably going to be a must-use if people are going to play Pyro.
Pyro is always a necessity in Man vs. Machine if you really think about it. Because
yeah, especially if you're Tour level 1.
True.
Dude, it's a lot more common than you think. It's so stupid.
Let's see. The gas passer. We talked about all these weapons. Very cool. Area denial item. Freaking set the world on fire. And it's a property that's never been used in TF2 before, where you have an active gas in the area that can ignite on anyone that's walked in the area. The hot hand, the meme hand, the master hand. Any other names that we can use it?
The god hand.
The god hand. Oh, that's lovely. That's his hand. Flamethrower's better visual sync. A lot of people thought, I was hearing a lot of complaints about the new Flamethrower visuals. That's things like it's too bright now with the new particle effects. And they don't like the way how the Flamethrower is now hitting the enemies. A lot of complaints, but I think I'm expected to hear a lot of complaints initially, and then once people start to get used to it, things will probably get a little bit better. People get used to how the Flamethrowers work now.
Yeah, I kind of agree in the sense like the particle effects are a little bit bright, and it does quite obstruct my view quite a bit. I won't deny about that. Now, in terms of having the visuals and like how it's more in sync, it's interesting because prior to this update, I looked at a few videos about like how that all works out. Like there was like a video about Uncle Dane's thoughts about like the whole meet your match thing. In one section, he was talking about like why he chose the pyro and why he wanted the pyro to get some sort of update. And in segments of the video, he showed like how the hitbox of the flamethrower worked, and how it's like very inconsistent because like prior to this update, the visual part of the flamethrower is not matched up with the hitboxes at all. And you could see like in some snippets where like there's like a very clear gap away from the player when the pyro is flaming, and yet the enemy would still get caught on fire anyways. And that's mainly because of lag, pretty much. So nothing's visually making sense out of all this. So like if you're like cloaked in the corner by a spy and thinking that you're safe, no, not really. When that pyro is like 20 meters away.
Well,
so in terms of visually how it was like before, like if you were to say do a little like swing around with the flamethrower and see how visually it looks, there's a lot of curve to it, a lot of little floatiness to it. Now with the new changes where the visuals, from what I can tell, is more exactly in sync with the hitboxes, you can tell like, yeah, it still has a little bit of curve to it on the very tip of the end, but like from like a little bit from the nozzle, however, it's very straight. So I can pretty much say that from what you see is exactly what you get from what I can tell from my experience. I would say this is really in this right direction with this one.
Yes, so good to hear, especially if there was an actual issue with visually where the fire is supposed to be and where the fire actually is, to be able to sync it much better. That's always a good thing, to know where. Yeah, this is just good in general. The air blast hit the detection. Oh yeah, this one's they changed the air blast working a little bit. I can't say I've noticed a big change, but now, for one, you air blast someone's feet, they will move now. Hit detection for both players and projectiles now a consistent cone. Air blasting players now factored with the momentum of the pyro and the target, giving both more control over the interaction. The target's existing velocity is no longer canceled. Players moving at the pyro at great speed will be reflected away at great speed. Players moving towards away the pyro will experience much less more push. Okay, they made changes to the air blast in general. Do you know what this means exactly? Because it seemed like I understand the part with you air blast the feet and they move. That makes sense. So, but everything else is kind of like.
Yeah, like so far with what I've used with the air blast, in order to like keep enemies away from me or anything like that, maybe it's just me with having to try to get them at the right angle, but the most part, like whenever I just do a reactionary air blast, I just see them just pushed like across the ground instead of being lifted upwards now. So yeah, it's really all about like if you want to purposely lift them up, I'm guessing you just have to get them at the right angle now.
Oh, I see. Gotcha. So it's exactly how you want them to be air blasted. How do you want to be? How you want them to be moved? And they say the total push force is slightly increased for the air blast. So you're going to be pushed a little bit farther back. So if you just missed the edge of them falling off, now you can do it a little bit easier now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And last but not least, on this final journey going down. The Afterburn, which I think this was a very fair change for pyros, which is a nerf, but it's still a fair one, where you can't do the puff and pass play anymore, where if you light someone slightly on fire for a brief second, the long 10-second duration of a flamethrower doesn't consume you for 10 seconds. Now it's based on how long you have the flamethrower on there. Then will determine how long you're going to be on fire, which I think is very fair. I'm sure a lot of scouts are sighing a sigh of relief right now.
Yeah.
So flare guns now have a automatic 7.5 seconds, and then also the gas passer also has a set amount of time they will be set on fire for. So Afterburn now reduces all direct mag healing resistant shields by 20%. And this effect was previously applied to direct flames, but moved to Afterburns and slightly lowered. Any other thoughts on the Afterburn?
Well, yeah, I see it's fine. I mean, it's good to see we're seeing actual numbers on this, to see that the Afterburn is at a minimum of 3 seconds. So that seems all right. And also to make up for, if most scenarios are like that, the minimum of 3 seconds, they would have Afterburn to be more little potent, to have it 4 damage a tick now. I also want to know about the flare guns and how that was applied, and well, now I can see I'm going to be using that more often if I actually want to abuse Afterburn. Now the last tick. This hurts me a lot since I'm a medic main. So now Afterburn is what now reduces the healing and resist by 20. Direct flames was bad enough. Now they have to do it to Afterburn. It makes me sad.
They really made pyros quite powerful in this patch. They've done. Wow. Actually, I think that's to offset how they just made the Afterburn for pyros a little bit weaker.
Well, maybe it's more like the case that they're trying to offset like how the medic just naturally regens health. So I'm guessing that's what they're going for. God, it's no wonder that like at parts today on community servers or even on casual servers when I'm unable to do my contract, I switched to medic, purposely going for vaccinator. I guess is mainly because of, well, pyros everywhere. I mean, I gotta have like some way of protecting myself, so I gotta have that.
I tried vaccinator for one particular map. I think that was during the Lazarus map, and I was not really impressed about how I was able. I kept people up, but I was like, it's not really preventing the damage like I was hoping. Being able to use it. I think I rarely ever used it before that time, but I was like, okay, it's great, but I kind of wish I had my normal invulnerability, Uber charge, but it is what it is.
Well, considering that it's pubs, and I just like the vaccinator used in pubs just for its practicality, because, like, I mean, if you're noticing that if you're seeing like a very problematic person on the other team, then that's always has like that golden chance of getting crits all the dang time. That's what I like to switch it for, or something that does a lot of damage. That's what I switch it for. I mean, in this case, it's just not just having to like take the other pyros off, but it's just more of a way of being able to have some form of staying power, some way to be able to do something, like, because like considering like the amount of like fire damage that they do anyway, like me trying to stay alive is just like really difficult, and I put a lot of hours in medic. I mean, like, god damn. Oh yeah, speaking of crits, I think maybe we can probably just end off this with talking about what we wanted in this update that turned out not to be the case.
I was talking with Mike the other day, and I thought this day 4 was going to add another aspect of man versus machine, thinking along the lines like Man vs. Yeti. I was really hoping for some type of Saxon Hell mod where you got to fight an actual Yeti, but I'm not sure how that would work exactly. But I was really hoping for something along those lines. But I would think that if they were to have such an update to do something that was a completely new game mode, they probably would have added that a little bit sooner. As far as like one of the day updates. So that was one of the things that I was hoping for. But aside from that, I really did not have many expectations for this update in general. I just wanted to see something. Overall, I just want to see something new from this game. Something that wasn't just community made. Because I feel that with a lot of Valve's games recently, they've been doing relying too much on the community to do their own work, and then they take the profits from it. I just wanted to see a lot more work come from Valve, and this may be I really feel that this is probably Valve's last hurrah to see if they want to try to keep this game and project updated, or they're just going to have to move on. So that's my thoughts on this update as a whole. I feel that this is a test to see if this game can still be profitable based on the time spent into the update.
Yeah, I am wondering like how much more staying power that this game would get. I mean, there's still the fact about like the Heavy getting his update, because I think majority of my people think like oh, Pyro won and then like Heavy's not going to get anything. Like, well, they stated in their blog saying that like, well, it's not going to determine like who's going to win it and no one else is going to get anything. It's more like determining an order. So like, I mean, they stated in the blog post, so they have to fulfill that promise somehow with like having to tinker up the Heavy, which in my personal opinion, I don't know if it really needs any tinkering. It's just Pyro, I would imagine, because it was quite in the questionable area for like for a while. So
I agree, because Pyro was always that one class that may have necessarily not been necessary. If you need a class that you need close-up damage, you could do the Heavy. And
yeah,
that was, if you need an ambush class, you could use a Spy or a Scout. Pyro was kind of that lukewarm of all those other classes, but I wouldn't even say Jack of all trades, master of none, but it was a class that really didn't have the best presence while you're playing on a team, and that's why they had to make the changes that they did with the Pyro, add things such as like the Air Blast. That was probably one of the best changes they ever made for the Pyro. Probably for any class that they in the game so far, that was the biggest change. Because that changed the way that Pyro was meant to be played.
Yeah. Well, I say to close things off, or I guess what I was expecting out of this, and it's just one simple thing, but it could probably change a lot of aspect about it, like in terms of weapon balancing, but I wish they got rid of random crits. I seriously do.
Why? That's the whole... I don't see... What did they have any indication that they're considering getting rid of random crits?
Sorry, did you repeat that? Your audio was cutting out.
Oh, did they show any indication that they were going to get rid of random crits?
Well, from what I saw in the Source Filmmaker short, that one brief moment when that demo shot his like pill, and then I saw that glowing particle effect, I'm like, crap. Well, here's the thing about random crits. It's just that it's a very random factor, which, yeah, you can influence it. If you do more damage, that'll increase the rate of it. But still, it's still the fact that it's still a very random thing to happen to get, like, a lot of damage. But the thing about it is, again, overall, it's luck-based. And when I go into a team game, I'm really expecting like good strategy and skill to be coming out of it. And pretty much like no matter like how much that you played, how much skill that you honed with a class or anything like that, it could have easily be countered by just something that'll instantly one shot kill you. I'm perfectly fine with classes that reward that sort of thing, like the sniper. I'm perfectly fine with that. Those are done with just being able to aim at their head and whatnot. Or like some other mechanics where like with the Frontier Justice, having to be able to shoot back for having to destroy his precious toys. But the case of like, I mean, if there's a good video to watch, he was formerly called Xenomite, but now he's called Menozit. He had a video explaining about like crits are bad or why it should be gone or something like that. He explained it through some sort of like negative biases or something like that, based upon that whole idea where he divides the player base in like a few areas, 1 or 3 areas. One is the player who gets crits, who benefit from crits and they enjoy it. The other one who benefits from crits and don't enjoy it, which is me most of the time. And the other side is players who don't get crits and hates them. So basically 2/3 of the players, when it comes around to the whole idea of crits, they hate it. So if a majority of players that just don't like it, then you might as well just not have it there. So that's from what I see about the whole idea of crits. It's no wonder why I heavily nowadays that I like to go for items like Battalion's Backup, the Vaccinator, any sort of mechanic that cancels out the crits, because like, good lord.
I always liked the aspect of random crits in Team Fortress 2. Call me crazy, but I don't think many other games like Team Fortress 2, as little amount of games are like Team Fortress 2, have that particular aspect of random crits. And it's not like there's a whole bunch of different random factors within this game that you have to consider. It's just that sometimes you get that final push in order to be able to do those type of things that happens within the game. I just personally like having that one particular aspect in the game. And it's needless to say, if you don't like random crits, you always have the choice to go into the community servers that literally says no random crits. And that won't be an issue at that point.
It's too bad that casual outnumbers the community now.
That is really sad, unfortunately. Some people don't believe me when I say the game's dying. You're like, well, there's still 40,000 players. I'm like, that's not going to save the game itself, though. You're going to need to have 40,000 players that are still paying and buying stuff for the game if you want to really keep it around. But really, only time will tell to see what the true effects of this update will be and see where Valve decides to lead with this game. There was a lot in this patch. It took 4 days to really explain how everything that they added to the game. So I really look forward to playing this game some more tonight and over the next few weeks, and hopefully I can be able to stay on and play it some more. Do you have any more thoughts about this patch or overall with Team Fortress 2, sir?
Well, I would say that this update, I mean, I'd say it's nice that we're getting some form of attention with this game and giving us something for us to do, for sure. So, not really much else. I mean, I don't know what else can necessarily wow me with how much they radically changed things up. I mean, of course, Pyro being front and center stage with this. Yes, there you go. That's the main attraction right there. So I'm sure that some people will get some reignited, but no pun intended, interest in this class now.
Slick. All right, Mr. Sir Wickydoo, I appreciate your time with us today. Thank you very much for your input.
Yeah, it was very fun. Very fun to have me on here. Thank you.
Once again, if people want to find your information, I'll be sure to link it in the description. But how would people be able to find you if they want to see your work?
Well, once again, I'm located on youtube.com/Wickydoo. Same moniker over on twitch.tv as well. And there you go.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for this. This will be the end of the broadcast. I hope to see you guys here in the future. Please share this with your friends if you thought this was insightful or at the very least silly. With that, my name is Newb. That there is Mr. Wickydoo. Say goodbye, Mr. Wickydoo.
Bye. See you guys next time.
All right. You guys have a great day. Take care.